Hello and welcome to another video on this channel. We just saw the new cutoff numbers to apply in the DV 2024 program. That's for the month of March 2024. And then we indicated the case number ranges that are concerned by interviews to be conducted during that same month of March 2024. Now in today's video, we will be touching on other aspects of the recently released visa bulletin. I'm going to touch on the 4 regions where I have viewers watching from. That's the Oceania region, the Europe region, the Asia region, and the Africa region. But before I touch on each of those regions, I would like to make a comment that concerns all regions. Now, what I have observed concerning the visa bulletin progression in the DV 2024 program is that there is similarity between the visa bulletin of the DV 2024 program and that of the DV 2023 program. A lot of you were not following the DV 2023 program because you were not applicants at the time. But if you should observe what happened in the visa bulletin progression last year, you will realize that the same is being observed in the DV 2024 program. Now, this is where I'm going to touch on the various regions, beginning with the Oceania region. Last year, the Oceania region observed a slow increase in its cutoff numbers almost throughout the fiscal year. When there was a need for a leap in the Oceania region, that leap did not come until very close to the end of the fiscal year. I guess it was in the final month. And then the result was that applicants that had high case numbers from the Oceania region did not get the chance to be interviewed in the DV 2023 program. By the time the leap occurred and cases with high case numbers were being scheduled for interview, the total number of visas had been issued out and the program came to an abrupt end. So high case numbers from the Oceania region in the last year's program generally did not get to be interviewed. Now, it is this same trend that we see occurring so far in the DV 2024 program. A slow increase in the cutoff numbers. The cutoff number for the month of February was 875. It has increased by only 325 points to 1,200. If things should continue at this same rate or around 300 increase on a monthly basis, it means by the time we get to the end of the fiscal year, the final cutoff number for the Oceania region will barely enter the 3,000 case number range. That is not good news for applicants with high case numbers from the Oceania region. If something should be done, it is now, that is perhaps in the next visa bulletin or a couple of visa bulletins from now, that we should see the leap occurring. The visa office is not to wait until toward the end of the fiscal year to effect that leap in the Oceania region. If they do, the situation that occurred last year will be reproduced in this year's program as far as the Oceania region is concerned. So far, the visa bulletin progression in the Oceania region is not good news for applicants with high case numbers from the Oceania region based on the 2023 experience, which seems to be repeated in this year's program. Then we move to the Europe region, but I'm going to combine both the Europe and Asia regions because they have some similarities. Now, just in the same way that in the case of the Oceania region, the situation of last year seems to be unfolding, in both the Europe and Asia regions, we seem to be experiencing the same trend from last year, which is a slow increase in the cutoff numbers. The Europe region is at 13,500 for the month of February, and for the month of March, it was increased to 16,000. Now, the highest case number from the Europe region is 66,000 plus. At this time of the year, when the visa bulletin progression has already gone halfway into the fiscal year, this is not the time to have the cutoff number for the Europe region at 16,000. It should be well beyond that. The same for the Asia region. For the month of March, we saw that Asia has been established at 7,000. That is 6 months into the fiscal year. Whereas the highest case number from the Asia region is more than 42,000. That was the same trend that occurred in the DV 2023 program, and by the time we got to the end of the DV 2023 program, both regions did not have their final cutoff number get close to high case numbers. And that trend has started to be observed in the DV 2024 program. Now, it is still soon to conclude how the progression will continue for the rest of the months in the DV 2024 program, but considering the experience from last year, this is not good news for applicants from both the Europe and Asia regions with high case numbers. If things should continue as they are currently being observed, then it means that by the end of the year, the highest case numbers in both of these regions will be affected. They will not have the chance of being scheduled for interview. Even if certain embassies, especially in the Europe region, are performing well, they cannot interview beyond the cutoff number that is established for the region. So, like in the case of the Oceania region, if leaps should occur, it is about time that we begin to see those leaps. If not, and the same trend from last year is applied in the DV 2024 program, then unfortunately it's going to go against those with high case numbers from both the Europe and Asia regions. And then finally to the Africa region, where a leap has occurred in the cutoff number from 26,500 for the month of February to 40,000 for the month of March. And that appears to be good news, but you know what? It's only good news if you are assigned to an embassy that is performing well. Now, in the same way that it has been observed that the DV 2023 program is being repeated in the regions that I already spoke about, that's the same experience with the Africa region. Last year, we had several leaps, and by the time we got to the end of the fiscal year, the Africa region went current. In this year's program, that trend is being repeated. We have had 2 leaps already, and based on the last year experience, we expect further leaps to take place. So concerning the Africa region, we can expect the final cutoff number to go as far as possible. So in the case of the Africa region, the issue is not the visa bulletin progression. The issue is what is happening at each embassy. Because the cutoff number for the Africa region is expected to go very far, I can tell you that there will be case numbers well over 80,000 that will get the chance to be interviewed in this year's program, simply because they are assigned at embassies that are performing well. Whereas there will be other cases with case numbers less than 30,000 that will not have the chance of being scheduled for interview in the DV 2024 program because they are assigned at an embassy that is not performing well. And so if you are an applicant from the Africa region, your duty should be to follow what happens at your embassy. The problem will not be with the cutoff number for the Africa region. As I said earlier, the cutoff number for the Africa region will go as far as possible to include high case numbers. But what happens at your embassy, which should be your concern, is what will determine ultimately whether you will be scheduled for interview or not. So applicants chargeable to the Africa region, your attention, your focus should be on interview scheduling at your embassy. Now for the other regions that I spoke about earlier, that is Oceania, Europe, and Asia, your attention, your focus should be rather on the visa bulletin progression for your respective regions, because that is where the problem that could affect the scheduling of your interview is most likely to come from. Let's watch the next visa bulletin and see whether the trend that I spoke about in this video will continue or whether things will change in favor of those with high case numbers. So that is it. That brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching it. See you very soon, God willing, in the next one. Goodbye.